Atul, your comments on government role, although you are already pointed towards it, that we had the opportunity as, if you like, administrative scenarios and all that, but we never got around to doing it. Now that sort of fits into the this two-way theory, that Alok is putting forward, that we are one hand one greedy, on the other hand not really competent. So your comment, Atul.
The two questions which you asked,
Yeah.
actually both of them connected with each other, India's capacity and the external support. And I think Alok used one word in his, when he answered you, was the interdependence. Today we are, to use a cliche, we are living in a global village where you have to be, we also have been interdependent in many things. Initially, we were globally interdependent on each other. If El Nino happened somewhere in Latin America, it affected India. Or if something happened in India, it affected China. We were always kind of globally and geographically connected. Later on, we got socially connected. Even later on, we got connected by the trade and by the ideas. So I wouldn't say that India has nothing to contribute. Of course, India has a lot to contribute. Let's say what Alok himself said, that if the formula was made by somebody in America, then we have the capacity to turn into the vaccine vials, which is the largest capacity, and that's why India has been exporting the medicine. India has been gifting the medicine and all that. So we have to see if this synergy has to be worked well. Then in this interdependent world, we can do that. Some basic drugs have to come from China. Some drugs have to come from America, which are not coming, which we need desperately. The Serum Institute of India and other institutes have been, there has been an open letter written to Joe Biden that please don't stop these medicines because the whole world needs them, not only India. And of course, India also needs them. These have to be worked to the best of the whole humankind, not just India, so to say. Another thing is strange. I'm making a little generalized sweeping statement, and both of you could correct me. Is that India has been very good at theoretical sciences. You yourself are scientists, and you know that in theoretical sciences we have been very good. I mean, we invented zero long time back.
Exactly.
But then within 1,000 years, America put the man on the moon. So we are not going to go out and do those practical things. I mean, we have not been very good in the engineering, perhaps. We have been very good in the theoretical sciences, whether it's theoretical mathematics, theoretical physics, and other things. So that's an independence. Of course, I mean, look at the IITs and the other Indian education system, which have made world leaders in many of the for the industrial society of the West, whether it's in the computer sciences, whether it's in the other sciences, that is the management, human management that Alok has been talking about. We have been very good. We have given those kind of people from our education system. We have made the basic raw material, which had been refined in America and other places. Of course, I'm not saying Sundar Pichai was not refined in America, and we gave the finished product. We did not, but at least we gave a good raw material for them to work with. Like we today need raw material from America to make our vaccines and other medicines. That interdependence is very important, and the synergy is very important. As far as the question of the spiritual superiority of India and other places, so I would say this is a kind of a myth that we have created, and all of us have to love ourselves. When I stand in front of the mirror every morning in the bathroom, I love myself. Yes, I'm fat. Yes, I'm old. Yes, I'm not very impressive, but still, it's not bad when I look at myself. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for me to exist in this world. Tomorrow, I'll go and commit suicide if I start hating myself. So all of us love ourselves. So India loves its being spiritual and all that. But the best answer to that came from a German teacher of mine, Professor Fritz Benewitz. Once he was traveling from Germany to India, And in the plane next to him was sitting an American, and he asked him, "Oh, have you gone to India many times?" He said, "Yes, at least 25 times." He said, "I've heard Indian people are very spiritual. They are into their spirituality all the time." And Fritz said, "Yes, yes, that's right. But sometimes they also catch fish to eat. So we also have to catch fish to eat. You can't be spiritual all the time." And little bit of a spirituality is a need of the human beings everywhere in the world, whether it's in Europe or whether it's in Australia. Even the aboriginals of Australia had their own spirituality, and they also called to and connected with their gods. And that's why they had so many tattoos and other things on their body.
Dream time.
So we all have different ways of connecting. So that's fine. But I think very important thing is that every nation, every society will have to make its priorities. Priorities for present, priorities for future. And in this priority, the past cannot be the priority. Sometimes in India, the problem is that we make past our priority, neither the present nor the future. And the moment a society starts making past its priority, it's like driving a car with the rear view mirror and not looking at the windshield in front of you. So that's the problem with us. For example, in the last year of the COVID year, what was the great achievement that we have done? I mean, it's touted by many people that, oh, after 150 years of war and battle or whatever, legal and otherwise, we are now making a round temple, a grand round temple. So, of course, a temple is important in a society. But should have been our priority. Our priority so much so that not only the quiet uh, construction of the temple would have started, but it became a whole mela where the Prime Minister also goes and prostrates himself and all that. So it's giving priority to the past and not to the present or the future. What it's going to achieve when the COVID was on, this inauguration was done on the 5th of August when the COVID was on the country, in full bloom in this country. So today also we know that during this COVID thing, what we have done is to make a whole new Central Vista in Delhi and a new parliament in Delhi. Of course, a new parliament is needed. Of course, maybe a central idea could be a good idea, and we could also have our own mall like what it has. But is it the priority in a COVID year? So we have to kind of prioritize our lives. I think that's very important. That do I need a kurta today or do I need a jacket today? That has to be decided by a society. Because without kurta, I cannot be going out. Without jacket, I still can go out. So jacket cannot be my priority today. Kurta has to be my priority today. Otherwise, मेरे पास इज्जत ढकने की कोई चीज नहीं रह जाएगी. मैं बिना कुर्ते के सिर्फ जैकेट के बाहर निकल जाऊंगा. What has to be our priority? That has to be decided by the society, by our politicians who come to play in this country in everything. So that's what I think is the important thing, that how a society makes its priorities, that's what can make a society strong or weak.
Wonderful. Thank you, gentlemen. So I would conclude that we need to now wait for two levels of what you call actions. One is the administration, the governments, not only in India but around the world, that some government has to take the lead to make it a combined effort and share resources, including knowledge, to act as a one world scenario. And the other is at personal level. We need to be very conscious and be human, which is the sort of thing that in the past Gandhiji and some of our great leaders have utilized to come out of the troublesome scenes. So I have to take the middle path here. I agree with you, Atul, on a lot of points. There are certain things in the past which we need to take into the current and future. So you're right that we are only, if we are dwelling on the past only, then we are driving with a sort of looking at backward only, not looking in front. So thank you, gentlemen. We hope that from this little episode that we have managed to gather together about, we will be able to at least convey this message to our governments and our people all around the world to get a betterment of the situation. And I hope and pray that all of us remain healthy and not necessarily wealthy, but we remain wise and we remain human and become more human if we can. So thank you. If I give both of you some time to conclude on your own. First, Alok, please.
So I think we need a Gandhi too soon. He's just 70 years, he's gone, and we are again pining for him. No, we actually, if you ask me what is required in India right now, and I see deaths and COVID and all that is fine. These things happen, nothing new. Spanish flu lasted for, even Gandhiji had a bout of Spanish flu when he was here in 1918. So these pandemics is biology, this will happen. This is not a big deal. The big deal is the response, obviously, which we will do according to our scientific knowledge. But look at it, our responses have been very, very primitive. Put a mask, social distancing, steam. 1918 also people knew this. So what has changed? So that means science has to work in a different direction. But the problem is that we need a very, very deep social transformation and transformation in thinking in this country. Trust me. If we don't start working on that, and I hope this whole COVID crisis, the relapse of COVID comes as a lesson for us to really modify our behavior. When I said greed, I actually, you know what I meant by greed? I meant the elitist behavior in the mind of Indians. Atul bhai has a sentence which he says कि हम hai तुम कुछ नहीं, right? सब इंडियन अरे किसी भी लेवल पे सब सोचते हैं कि
this whole thing, it's a sentence which I read in an auto rickshaw in Bombay with a Shiv Sena logo in it, and under it was written हम हैं बाकी के सारे कम हैं. This attitude of human beings, that हम हैं बाकी के सारे कम हैं,
right.
we and rest of them are lesser human beings. Until we keep thinking that everybody else is a lesser human being, whether as an individual, whether as a society, whether as a nation, that's the poison which will get us.
COVID is a great equalizer. In that sense, COVID is a great equalizer. It is treating rich and the poor in the same eye. But the behavior of the people is not in the same eye. So what I'm saying, that if the gaps get wider in every crisis, that is my biggest worry in this country. Is why does every crisis has to send Indians into sort of a confrontative, anxious mode? Why don't 130 crore people put their heads together and do what you are asking to do? What you're saying, it is all achievable. But if you don't put your energy into constructive stuff, but I'll tell you, if you ask me one problem, the whole country, and I don't know whether it flows from the top man in this country, the whole country is anxious about survival at different levels. So if the whole mass is anxious about survival, your activities will also not be very creative, or they will not be for a larger benefit. You have to really get out of this anxiety of survival. Only then you can step out of yourself. This is the biggest lesson Gandhi Buddha gave, isn't it? You really don't bother the whole day about your survival. Then you can do about something else. So this is happening, and if you ask doctors are giving their life, time, families, everything up for this fighting against. Society periodically will feel happy. They will go and praise doctors, but on the smallest thing, they'll again start blaming them. They become unhappy with doctors, unhappy with hospitals. Nobody is stopping to realize the tremendous pressure under which they work. Understaffed, people are having COVID, people have to survive with lesser staff, still keep doing testing and all that. I'm not asking as a sense of entitlement, but you just see somebody who's trying to save your life is also at the end of receiving bricks from you. What is this attitude? If you can't acknowledge, if you can't be grateful, at least be decent. But then people will go, they will loot oxygen cylinders, they will throw stones at hospitals, they will try to beat up doctors. Sometimes doctors say, I don't want to treat. Isn't it? We may be sounding like, what Satyajit Ray was blamed once of showing Indian poverty to the world. Sir, a lot of people will listen, they will accuse me of washing dirty linen in public. But nevertheless,
definitely.
This is the fact.
And he was blamed by an actress, a very well-known actress, who also was Mother India in a film, and who was the parliament at that particular time.
Yes.
Atul, your final comments, please.
Well, I think Alok has summed it up very well. That unless until we learn and learn fast, and unfortunately, I mean, it's just an aside and a monologue that human beings don't learn. If human beings had learned, they learn science, they learn chemistry, they learn mathematics, but social behavior they don't learn. If we had learned social behavior, then we would not have needed so many prophets. One prophet would have been enough. So the thing is, human beings don't learn. That's why we need periodic prophets. And as Alok said, that our prophet, our very human and humane prophet Gandhi was here 70 years ago. And perhaps it's the time that world and India needs another prophet. I'm saying it in the metaphorical sense of the word. I'm not saying that somebody will descend down. No, it's not a question of that. Somebody should rise up from us to lead us.
Yes, thank you very much. Somebody should rise, and before that, we should rise ourselves down to human level. If you can, I can use those words, rise down to the humanity
wonderful
level, then that would be the way to go, and that will solve everything, because once you are behaving in a human way, you will forget your greed and this unnecessary grabbing of materials. And then you start your empathy and sympathies, which might have gone away from you. Hopefully not. But I thank you both for your time and very much, very deep insight into the situation. And hopefully our viewers will also appreciate this and come back to us via email, info@Suniyetau, on Facebook and Twitter, and also on YouTube. I thank you from the bottom of my heart, both of you, Alok and Atul. And we might have a revisit of this in a couple of weeks' time, or maybe a month, when hopefully the situation would have improved for the better. Thank you, Alok and Atul. All the best. Keep plugging away in your human manner.
Thank you, sir. We'll try.
Thank you,
Bye.
Atul.
Bye.
Bye-bye.